Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about abolition of slavery in America. Before the American Civil War itself, this anti-slavery Republican Party, they were under the head of Abraham Lincoln and other leaders. They did not plan to abolish slavery entirely. They only thought of stopping its extension to new territories and the states in the American West. But that was not accepted by the southern politicians because they believed that the growth of free states would turn the US power structure irrevocably against them. In November 1860, Lincoln's election as president signaled the secession. Secession means the separation of the 7 southern states and the formation of the Confederate States of America. And just after his inauguration in 1861, the Civil War began. 4 more southern states joined the Confederacy, while 4 border slave states in the upper south remained in the Union. Now, Lincoln did not like the slavery, but he responded cautiously to the call by the abolitionists for emancipation of all American slaves after the outbreak of the Civil War. And as the war was just dragging on without ending, the Republican dominant federal government began to realize the strategic advantages of emancipating. That is, the liberation of the slaves would weaken the Confederacy and it will deprive them of the major portion of its labor force. And at the same time, it would become a strength to the Union by producing an influx of manpower because all these slaves will definitely come and join them. And with 11 southern states seceded from the Union, there were few pro-slavery congressmen to stand in the way of such an action. In 1862, Congress annulled the fugitive slave laws, prohibited slavery in the US territories, and authorized Lincoln to employ freed slaves in the army. That is, when the slaves are freed, they should get a job. And definitely they'll be willing to join in the army, and if they're willing means definitely the US army will take them. And following the major Union victory of the battle at Antietam in September, Lincoln issued a warning of his intent of emancipating, and he proclaimed for all the states still in rebellion on New Year's Day. So he gave a warning to all the states saying that there should be no more slavery in America. And on January 1, 1863, President Lincoln formally issued the Emancipation Proclamation, and he called on the Union Army to liberate all the slaves in states still in rebellion, and said that this is an act of justice warranted by the Constitution, because the Constitution has promised that all are equal and all are free. And all this is now upon military necessity, because they were not willing up to give up their slaves, so they had to use the military by forcefully removing that slavery. And now 3 million slaves were declared to be thenceforth and forever free. They were freed, and the proclamation exempted the border slave states that remained in the Union, and all are parts of 3 Confederate states which were under the control of the Union Army. The Emancipation Proclamation transferred the Civil War from a war against secession into a war for a new birth of freedom, as Lincoln stated in his Gatsby address in 1863. This ideological change discouraged the intervention of France or England on the Confederacy's behalf and enabled the Union to enlist about 180,000 African American soldiers and sailors who volunteered to fight between January 1, 1863 till the conclusion of the war. And slavery's legacy and efforts to overcome it remain a central issue in US politics, particularly during the post-Civil War Reconstruction era and the African American civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.